Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the UKEL Spring Split 2020. We are about to get underway as 8 teams vie for the lion's share of that £1,500 prize pool. I'm Dara Darksoulmeko, and joining me for the first 2 games today is Harry Dr. Evans. How are you doing, Harry?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm ready for the first game of the new UKEL Split, and my first UKEL experience as well, so should be a good time.
It definitely will be, especially since this is Viperio, our inaugural split champions. They have a revamped roster and they are back looking for to take their first victory against Absolved.
Oh yeah, and we've seen a lot of these players sort of before, especially around in the UK Proving Grounds. And there's been a lot of changes in the game since that tournament happened, right? That'll sort of be the last chance that we had to get a look. And that was set on the preseason patch coming on into Season 10. We are now well on our way into Season 10. And so what I really want to look at, my sort of player to watch here, is actually going to be Tyron, because he had a really unique champion pool in that tournament. And I don't think that that's going to be able to step up here in the current meta.
Yeah, a lot of the tier lists that have been going around Twitter have been saying, are we going to get the high tier Tyron or the low tier Tyron? And that will definitely be what mitigates any power levels throughout any of the games that they're in.
Oh yeah, of course there are other players. We've got Gordon Reagan, a sort of pretty well known in this Div 2 circuit. You know what you're getting with those two. They're definitely not like the worst in the bot lane in this tournament, but I definitely wouldn't say they're in the sort of top. You look at names like Blue Spirits and Oliver, who we'll see later. Gordon Reagan maybe not at that kind of level, but then also like Rojojo. I don't think I've seen this guy before, so I'm intrigued to see what's going to come out from the top lane in Absolved. And then over on the side of Viperio, it's sort of more of the same. You know who you're getting, right? You know what you're getting with Vixen, a very strong mid lane. You know what Hades and Rapidex will be pulling out. Likewise with Viper and Smurfwing. So my focus a little bit more onto Absolved in this game.
Yeah, it's kind of all on them to, I think, bring it to Viperio. There are a lot less expectations in some ways on Absolved, since Viperio are the ones that did win the inaugural split, don't you think?
Yeah, so having that dub behind you, always a little bit nice, but it's a new season, time has passed, people have gotten better, we've got a new meta as well, new patch, so it's not as cut and dry as, yeah, we won last time, we'll clap it this time. That can happen pretty often, I'm not saying it won't, but I like to keep a little bit of suspense, a bit of mystery in the air,
Yeah, it is all up in the air, all to play for coming into the split. And with all of these roster revamps and changes, since Viperio don't have anyone, I think, of the same player base that they had last split. So I think it really leaves all to be desired, almost.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how these guys will be able to stick it out playing together, like I said, new roster coming together, but they're all professionals, they've all done this before. They know what they're doing, been through a share of teams. Synergies is one of those things, it takes time to build up, but we've had a while, these rosters have been together for, I think it's, maybe like, it changes depending on the roster, but I think everyone's been together for at least like 2 weeks or so, I think. So you've had a little bit of time to get to know each other, smooth out some of those early kinks.
And is there any champion pick that you're interested in keeping an eye on? Like, we have the Philios, the MF, Senna, Set, and there's loads of other supports that are kind of floating around the meta at the moment. Soraka top, Soraka mid.
Oh yeah, Soraka's an interesting one. Actually, in Korean solo queue, they've been playing Soraka bot as well as the carry in the lane. So that one's a bit of an interesting one. She's just so self-sufficient. Then you put her with someone. Again, you get the combination of putting with like a Leona, and she drops the silence as well. You're having a really good time. So yeah, if Soraka turns up, that'll be interesting. I kind of feel like UK players, like I know these guys, I know the UK scene. These people are too proud to go ahead and lock in Soraka in a solo lane. So maybe that one's not going to happen. But then of course you have all your classics that we've been seeing throughout the competitive split. We've seen over in the LPL whilst that was still running, they had 5 100% pick ban champions, which were Rumble, Pantheon, Aphelios, Senna, and I think Leona was the last one. Maybe Nautilus was the last one. And then you had the Misfortune was like 97% presence as well. So there's a lot of pretty strong champions. But like you said, mostly in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and we will be getting into the champion select in just a few short minutes, but we'll talk a little bit more about the game that will be happening later on, which will be Bulldog versus Vector Gaming. Do you have any expectations going into that?
Honestly, I like watching Bulldog play because I just want to see how Wins does, because he's been coming up in the university scene a lot. You know, we've seen him in about the new, absolutely clapping it in there. And I used to do it with him like 3 or 4 years ago. And I didn't really hear from him a lot. And now it turns out, oh, he's just popped up and started clapping the UK scene. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'll keep an eye on that one. And then, of course, Fuyu and Splaff on Vector. We know these guys. Fuyu had a pretty decent showing in the Proving Grounds, actually. Really stepped up. It was a rough start, but then really came into their element going on in that tournament as well. So a lot of people that I'm sort of excited to see, but then again, there's a lot of people that I'm not really too familiar with, you know, like Extra Cheeky, Depra over on the side of Vector, you know. So again, so many names that we know exactly what they're like. A very small number of names is like, okay, we know what you're like, but what are you like? You know, with sort of champions like Tyron, and then of course a lot of people that we just haven't really seen before. I'm excited to see their start in the UKEL.
Yeah, a lot to prove for a lot of these newer players, and I'm very excited to see what they can bring to the team, what they can bring to each game, and of course to the UKEL as a whole. Tyron, still that question mark on everyone's tier lists. I'm hoping that he'll bring out something that he's comfortable with rather than something that's kind of, you know, a bit of a meme pick. I want to see him kind of do well rather than, you know, be that question mark on the team.
So his meme pick in the Proving Grounds was Nunu. I actually think that Nunu's in like a decent spot right now, right? He knows how to play Nunu, and it's like jungle XP ruined, jungle dead roll, right? So when you can play these low economy champions, these sort of supportive guys that don't need a lot of gold, don't need a lot of XP, you know, Nunu, doesn't matter if he's level 1 or level 18, he's still got like a free half a smite no matter what, you know? So just having that extra power put into the kit. Also champions like Ivan, you know, who doesn't really need the XP, doesn't need the gold because of how he builds and how he goes around the map farming. Those kind of supportive champions, and I think Tyron is okay playing those, can actually really step up quite a lot in Season 10.
Well, we are into Champions Select for our first game of the split. Cassiopeia will be the first ban taken away on the side of Viperio, followed by the Akali.
Alright, so again, Akali, that was the 100% pick ban, not another Leona. It wasn't a support. Leona Nautilus seen pretty much every game. I wonder if this will be another one of those. And interesting with the Thresh ban from Viperio. Thresh usually seen as a response to those two. He's sort of not seen as the top tier engaged support, but he does kind of decently into them and is available when those are banned. So a lot of respect being shown onto Reagan here by Viperio.
Yeah, a lot of respect indeed. Odd to see the Bard banned away. I think it could be maybe a comfort pick on the side of Rapid Lex, but Ornn taken off the table as well, something that we've seen a lot of in recent times in that top lane.
Yeah, Ornn, again, pretty spicy champion. Not really easy to tank, but he does have, again, okay times. He can go even in any lane, and that's really all you can ask of him. So take that one out. But again, these are sort of bans that I'm thinking these are not the priority champions that Viperio are taking off the table. These are the second on the list. Yeah, so a lot of power picks have been left open. Set is disabled. He'll be coming on next week, so we won't see him in this champion select. But still, Aphelios on the table, Senna, Misfortune, all available down in that bottom lane. But never mind! We don't want it!
No, you want to go for the Lucian instead. Power of the flex pick.
True, you got a lot of lanes you can put that in. Putting it in top lane, mid lane, or bot lane, but getting an early flex pick is good. You know, getting Lucian early on, he's a lane bully, he has strong matchups, that's pretty decent. But like Aphelios is open, you know, there are other options that you could. Would I maybe first rotation the Lucian on red side? Sure. Would I make it the very first pick of the champion select? Probably not. So we'll have to see if there's going to be a punish of that from Absolved. Right now they've already gone ahead and locked in that Braum though, denying away that nice pairing of a lane.
It definitely is taking away a very comfort champion paired up with Lucian, but we've seen a lot of Lucian mid when it is early picked in the draft, so not 100% expecting it to be in the hands of Hades carry in the bottom lane, but Tyron locking in the J4.
Okay. Apparently the Braum is actually Xayah.
Xayah, okay.
Weird thing to use as a proxy pick when it is just a champion that gets played. This is why we see the Amumu lock-in from Viper. What is it? Nobody knows. But So Aphelios is on the table, Misfortune Senna on the table. The Senna nerfs haven't, I think they come in like this week, the more further Senna ADC nerfs, but neither of those ones wanted to be picked up by these teams. And Gould has always done pretty decently when he's given that opportunity to be something like a Xayah, like a Tristana, just a little bit of safety, a little bit of escape, but that potential to go more aggressively. He does like have that extra backup, to have that extra sort of like backup and fallback ability there.
Well, we haven't gotten any word just yet from production what that Amumu is, but do you think the Nocturne is a legitimate picked up for Viper?
I mean, well, yeah, Nocturne's a decent champion, you know? So Nocturne could be in the mid lane again, could be top lane if we want to throw it back to ego speed, could be in the jungle. Not so much in this season, but, you know, it's still a possibility. And they went ahead and picked Amumu as their proxy pick. I mean, actually, if we haven't heard anything about the Amumu, it may well not be the proxy. I'm assuming it is. But it might
How
not.
How many were expecting Viperio to go in this first game?
Oh god, who knows, but...
Full AP Amumu, just start one-tapping the Xayah.
I don't want to go into the Amumu, because I know that, like, I'll really get myself into it. I'll be like, okay, how does this... Because this happens, like, you go all the way through champ select and you never get told what the proxy is, so you really big yourself up, like, yeah, this is it, Amumu support! And it's like, oh, no, it's like... It's Nautilus, who knew? But... Okay, no support bans are coming through here, so maybe it is the Amumu is like the Leona or Nautilus, but Braum does quite well into the. It's not Braum, it's like. Yeah, so maybe the Amumu is like a Leona or a Nautilus, but then you wouldn't really pick Rakan into it, because I feel like if Viperio, maybe they already have it, but if they get Leona or Nautilus, especially Leona, into that Rakan, into the Xayah Rakan, you're gonna have a pretty good time. But who knows, you know? Like...
It's such a hard thing to really call at this point, but we're seeing top laners and mid laners being taken away from either side, Mordekaiser and Fiora, so it could be the Vladimir that's being hovered at this point, but taking away the Orianna and the Zoe on the side of Viperio.
It's a Vlad. Is it a Vlad? Who knows? I mean, okay, well, Vlad actually fits nicely here. We haven't mentioned at all Tyrants on Jarvan. Jarvan, he's kind of he's in a decent enough spot, you know. We see Elise and Lee Sin are really played. Basically, the junglers are Elise, Lee Sin, Olaf, because they have really strong early games, and then Olaf can actually clear through. Jarvan is a little bit weaker in the early game, but then he has that sort of tank utility value, and Tyrant has done well on him before. So you put it with the Xayah Rakan and now a Vlad to go in with that dive, you're actually getting yourself a really nice team fight comp.
It will be really easy to just trade that tower aggro and try and actually get the Vladimir, who is a late game, not a hyper carry, but a late game monster. Get him ahead in the early game and you won't really need to worry about the top side of the map at all, or it can even be mid lane here for Thomas.
Okay, so we see Morgana locked in there for Hades, and a lot of picks come through here, so it's Aurelia top. We don't know what the mid lane is. Could be a Mumu. It could be, like, we still haven't heard. So maybe it's a Mumu jungle, Nocturne mid, but almost definitely going to be a bot lane of Morgana Lucian. And I'm a flame because I don't
it could
agree.
Be a Mumu AD. No, it could, like, the Mumu could be the AD carry.
Yeah, oh, it's carry a Mumu.
No,
jungle Lucian, yeah.
Bot lane.
No, so the issue that I have with this is that you've got a Lucian and you're versus Leona and you're versus Xayah Rakan, right?
Yes.
Lot of physical damage coming out from that Xayah, and as far as the Rakan's concerned, he's just all his CC is he's got his ult and then his knock up with his W. Lucian's dodging that anyway. You are holding your E every time. If you're dashing forward, you're gonna have a bad time. But even then, you still get a little bit of extra movement speed in Lucian's kit. Basically, it's gonna be pretty hard for the Rakan to land a knock up on the Lucian. So as the Morgana, what do you achieve in this lane? Because it's not like you have a Nautilus, you have a Leona, someone that can really go in with the... Oh no.
Yeah, I was just about to mention it. Yeah, the Mumu is Braum.
So what's the Morgana?
Morgana...
It's just Morg mid?
Morg mid, yeah. Has to be Morg mid. Morg mid... Braum support with Lucian, so they actually got it.
So it's actually Nocturne jungle.
Nocturne jungle. And then Aurelia top lane.
My head.
But we have seen a lot of Morgana mid in the pro leagues.
It's a good counter pick in some situations, but okay, yeah, Morgana.
Morg mid versus the right. No, wait.
What Morg?
What LeBlanc? What? Morgana was a flex pick. I mean, Morgana was a placeholder. Okay.
You're gonna tell me now it wasn't Lucian at all? Oh my god. Guys, just buy the champions, man. Like,
just use things like Teemo. Teemo wasn't even used as a placeholder.
I'm not saying a word until I see the final lock-in from Reagan. This is... So it's actually
okay,
Nocturne
we know that
jungle.
it is a Zyra Khan, at least.
Okay, it's a Zyra Khan, it's Nocturne jungle. Lucian Braum, that's a much nicer lane.
It is.
Wow, yeah,
Better than I
Braum
thought it
into
would be.
Zyra, that's really good. But... Okay, give me a minute, okay. So, when you take a second to look at these comps, that we now know,
Yes.
Absolved have a significantly easier endgame, which is, yeah, we're just gonna run at you. You know, they've got a nice little mix of damage there, maybe a little on the AP heavy side because Tyron will be going for a more tanky build. But still, you know, you're good enough. You've got really strong engage with Tyron goes in, Reagan follows up on that, and then Rojojo is in the third. All the while, Thomas and Gould throwing in some damage. Maybe Thomas even splitting and realm warping in, but that's pretty easy to pull off. You need a bit of time to scale. You've got Rise strong early because, you know, EQ, 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 EQ. Vlad, he needs that sort of level 9. You give it a little bit of time, but this team is definitely 100% outscaling Viperio. No questions about that. So a lot of pressure going to be on Viperio to get these strong early lanes, which they seem to have done a little bit. You know, the LeBlanc, the Lucian Braum are very good. But are they going to be able to get those advantages that they need?
You see, that is the question. What can Viper do to try and help out the solo lanes to try and help them carry? Because we have seen LeBlancs become a monster, and then later on in the game, Aurelia will be able to start to do something. But then, like you said, the Rise Vladimir, they'll just run at you.
Yeah, it's a situation. So you do have some light advantages in the both the lanes looking like they're going for TP. Yeah, so 4 teleports in this game. So a lot of 1-3-1 action is definitely, it's potentially going to happen here. And you think about the sort of way these matchups work. It's like, well, you know, Aurelia can run someone down if she's ahead. LeBlanc can run away, but she can also run someone down if she's ahead. You sort of need that lead because think about the Aurelia versus the Vlad matchup. Where he can only pull the ult or the stun. He's not pulling both. Likewise, if the chain or one chain hits from Vixen, it doesn't matter if Rojojo pulls, he's still going to get rooted. And if he pulls the first chain, you just hold the ult, throw him the second. So you have opportunities in these side lanes, but again, it's about those early leads. So how are we going to do that? We've got a strong bot lane here, Hades and Rapidlex on that Lucian Braum, up against the Zyra Khan, who are very good early, but Braum really strong versus those two. And so you've got to look at Viper to this, because Tyron's on the job, and Tyron's maybe going to be looking for those early ganks. He definitely has the opportunity to. With such an early game champion, Viper on that Nocturne, you're strong early, but you really want to wait till 6. So I think you can maybe meet in the middle, and we might see a lot of action up and around this bot river before Viper hits 6, and whilst Hades and Rapidlex are still very strong in that 2v2, you turn that into some invades, you turn that into some dragons, really get the ball rolling.
It definitely can, but some early vision being established from the side of Absolved there, and now returned by Viperio. What do you think of sacking the first 2 Drakes, going for the Rift Heralds instead, playing for plates? Is that something that you'd recommend for either of these 2 teams?
I think Drakes are really important in this game. Obviously, plates are very valuable to Viperio because, you know, they have to get that early lead. Yeah. They're really going to get outscaled. So yeah, they do want plates. They want that Herald. They want to get that focus around top. But I don't think they have to sack the early Drakes to do it. And I don't think it's worth it if they do, because what you want to do, get that early Drake basically on spawn if you can, and then you can just swap your bot lane. Even if you're losing plates in the bottom lane because they choose to keep it as a 2v1, it's still okay if you're making those plates up when you're in the top lane. Now Hades up against a wall, and that's the level 1 Zyra Khan looking to maybe try and bamboozle him a little bit. He's walking up quite far. Rapidlex too far away.
Yes, we'll get the... Oh, we'll have to dodge away.
Alright, it takes a little bit of
damage. Lucky for him,
damage.
he didn't take the piercing light.
Yeah, he managed to get out the way. Oh, that one, no, he took the E level 1, so that's alright. But yes, ooh, Rough trades in the mid lane for Vixen as well, but keep your eyes on Viper. There's a lot of pressure on him to get the advantages early on in this game, because again, you're going to get outscaled. You need those dragons, because that's how Viperio have a chance in the late game 5v5s. If you have like an Infernal Soul or something, that's really going to be helping you out. But if you've been giving up those Drakes early, and now you have to play against Vlad, Ryze, Xayah, and they have a soul, it's a really rough time.
Yeah, that really doesn't seem like it would be a fun game to be playing, but already getting the shove in this bottom lane, not really too surprising, trading a little bit of damage in the mid lane as well.
Right, well,
making his way in. Vixen doesn't seem to know that he's there. Flag and drag, flashed away.
Yeah, Vixen having to flash that one out, didn't have access to the distortion there, and now Rojojo, he's not in a good spot. Okay, I said we need to get the early leads in these lanes. Smurfwing living up to his name here, 12 CS lead. Rojojo on half health and used his pot already, so rough times for Absolved in that top lane.
And this is kind of what we mentioned in Champion Select. We have to get the early shove, the early leads in the solo lanes. And he's starting to get a lead, starting to get the shove in the top lane, but isn't it just a waiting game for Rojojo?
I mean, a little bit, but at some point, you are just going to get run down by the Aurelia, you know? Yes, Vlad, I mean, you don't want to, like, lose lane, because Vlad is kind of bonkers, but, you know, you're okay going even, being slightly behind until you hit that level 9. That's why we used to see Vlad's with, you know, things like UKEL and Kleptomancy. As now, Tyrant comes on in mid, but Vixen...
Yeah, flag and drag, has the stun, we'll be able to distortion away. Should be able to get out of here.
Yeah, was able to jump on out of that one. It was looking a little scary when Thomasco lands the root on there, but Vixen, again, taking a lot of ganks here in the mid lane, and that's how this matchup is going to go. You have the Nocturne. He's not able to force ganks as easily as the Jarvan would be. He wants to be trying to find out the Jarvan in his jungle like this and trying to get some 1v1s going, but because he definitely has the advantage in that regard. And Tyrant's okay to just avoid him and look to put pressure onto the map. You get this Ryze ahead early. You make sure that he is able to go back, recall, and come back safely with his tier, and suddenly this game gets a lot easier for Absolved. Again, that's how you beat the Ryze. You force him out and make him take inopportune buys, because his items, they need time, you know, tier, Roa. If you want to go for both of them, you need to make sure you're getting your spikes basically perfectly as you have perfect gold for them. So if you can stop the Ryze from doing that, you're having a really good time. So Tyron making sure that his mid lane is able to fulfill his sort of win condition there.
And only having a little bit of a CS advantage in this middle lane, just gonna clear away the wave with the bounce, but 12 seconds until the first Drake spawning. It will be a Cloud Drake, so not the most hotly contested Drake of all time, but something nice to pick up for the Nocturne to just roam around. That's a lot of damage onto Vixen, but we'll trade some back.
Yeah, both teams will be looking for this Drake, I think, because, yeah, like I said, you've got Nocturne on one side, you've got the Jarvan on the other, but also, the Ryze on the other. But it's also just like, yeah, people like Drakes. Having 10% CDR off your ult is pretty nice. And now both mid laners are going to go ahead and reset here. Teleports will be used because everyone wants to be out on the map for this dragon. Now, Rojojo doesn't have TP in the top lane, and Smurfwing has actually recalled on board. He's come back with a Vamp Scepter. Not sure what he's building there. Maybe he's rushing the Ravenous Hydra, I can only assume, but it's important to note that Absolved have that prio on the bot lane right now, and Tyron is in the area. There is a ward in the pit, and Tyron isn't going to see it. The ward's not going to see him, so a lot of information is left on the table there. Neither team aware of the presence here, but yeah, with Gold and Regan under the tower here of Viperio, they're having a good time if they want to look towards this Drake.
Might want to rotate over for that, but Viper now on his wolves, so he is towards that western side quadrant of the jungle. So if Tyrant starts off on this Drake, or at least clears away the vision, it will take him a little bit more time to rotate down to try and contest any taking of that Drake.
Yeah, Viper really just trying to hit 6 as fast as possible, it seems. You know, not concerned about that crab or about getting too much vision control around that Drake. We've got the 1 pink in the pit, so you're okay with that. And now Viper moving out onto the top side of the map. The crab's not there. He might be looking to get an invade going and maybe try and sneak away those chickens. You know, the chickens are a camp that Jarvan doesn't really like to do is before he's got his Cinderhulk, so you're pretty confident in thinking that they're up, especially if you're playing someone like Nocturne who can do him so quickly. But actually, he's just going for the red on spawn. He knows he can take it if Tyrant isn't there, and if Tyrant is there, he will definitely win the 1v1, and Smurfwing has priority in that top lane. So nice little invade coming out here, and he knows that the Drake is safe because of that pink in the pit.
Now Tyrant's just
Oh, that's
gonna
dangerous.
drag onto his chickens, but as you said, he will lose the 1v1, but Thomas is going to rotate over. Can he get the first blood? We'll get the flash out. Vixen, in a lot of trouble. We'll get the electrocute proc to come down. Distortion away. Bounce not quite enough. But actually, he's going to go back in. He's just going to go down to first blood. Thomas, will he be able to get away? Will not find the stun, but in comes the Aurelia. Smurfwing picks up the reply kill.
And that's literally the worst time, but now bot lane, a little bit of light action coming out there. Hade's taking some damage. The worst time that you could be there for Tyrant. Oh, lovely replay coming through. Thank you, Joe. Look at this. As he EQs it, like, the Nocturne Dusk is already in the air as he takes the Flag and Dragon. So this is the most damage you're going to take. It also activates the lethal tempo, of course. And then Vixen kind of goes a little something here. Using W for wave. You don't have the W. He jumps back in. He's inside the middle of his wave, sure, but that's a wave that's, you know, got the Rise stacks on it. Definitely can't afford to face tank that kind of damage, but then Viper does a nice job here. Just tank up the tower. You know there's no flash on the Rise, so easy enough kill to pick up there. But really, that's a negative, I think, there for Viperio. You know, that was giving time to Rojojo. They lost basically the same kind of summoners, but yeah, you're just giving that opportunity to bring Rojojo back in this game. But now Drake is the target.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting for Vixen to distortion back during that call.
I don't think Thomas was either, but
And then he just face tanked an overload and just gave up first blood for no reason. And then Smurfwing was coming in from the side. I was expecting him just to hop onto Thomas, and they could have gotten a 1-for-0 if they.
And
if
of course,
he just didn't distortion back in.
Yeah, and off the back of that, Tyrant is on 100 health, so he's out. The second that he's out, he just recalls. And Viper in this situation is now he's going for the extended dive. He has to go, he has to come back, he has to tank the tower hits and back off. And all that extra time just means that Tyrant is able to reset faster, he buys faster, he's even got the gold from the assist. It just gives up complete priority of that dragon. Of course, Gould and Regan have been under the tower of Viperio all game. We haven't mentioned it that much, but that's not the situation you want to be in as Viperio in this lane. Although Viperio have come back with a slightly better buy advantage here. It's boots versus a longsword. Is that damage going to be enough? Maybe with the Nocturne ult. So it's not great for Viperio in that situation, but at least they have now some ways to try and get a little bit back into this game. But actually, we've already seen Dragon's taken, bot lane swapped.
Yep, go initiate the lane swap, give them the pressure to take Shelly up in this top side, and Nocturne is waiting off, has his paranoia available, but I don't think even he wants to go in 1 versus 3.
Oh, you say that. Just looking at it.
Definitely tempted to anyway, but Thomas go off to the side. We'll make it 1 versus 4, just gonna give up the first Rift Herald here.
Yeah, really slow on the rotation there for Viperio. We see, you know, look where Lucian and Braum are there. Not even into the lane yet, so not able to contest that at all. And it seems that Absolved are doing what Viperio needs to do. And Viperio are just like, okay, we'll take some notes, we'll write this one down, we'll try it again next time. But right now, it's just not looking great. It's not the sort of optimal situation here, but level 6 on Hades, level 6 on Rapidex, and of course, level 6 on Viper. He's playing the Nocturne. I think he's even got Ultimate Hunter there, because we do see that domination tree. So he's ready to make things happen with this ult, but Tyrant's been making things happen before 6. You know, he had constant ganks out in that mid lane, really making Vixen's life hard, who is now taking a fair bit of damage as the Nocturne ult comes
down.
in.
We'll be going in. This should be a free kill in the middle lane here. Get the proc of the lethal tempo, and Viper picks up a kill.
Oh, a lot of CC there. Okay, lovely bait from Vixen coming through. I was expecting Viper to just run down and try and pick up a free kill onto Rojojo there, but he sees that, yeah, Thomas Go is going to greed for that one, and they'll be able to pick up their kill. And off the back of that, oh no, Thomas Go, interesting. He bought the Merc Treads and then refunded them and went for Sork Shoes, and I wonder if he'll change back, because you've got enough magic damage on the team, and you've just seen what happens when all that CC comes through. But even off the back of the kill for Viperio, Vixen's still too low, and so the Herald is dropped mid with the bot lane as well. 360 gold split between the 3 of them though, which isn't great, because you don't want to give, you know, that's 240 gold that could have been going onto Xayah instead of onto a support and a tank. But at the same time, you kind of don't want to leave Gould up there alone, so I think there is a way you can split it, because Gould hits the tower and then everyone else walks like out of range but still in range enough, because the range extends if you've hit the objective recently. So maybe there's a way to give that over safely, but Absolved don't want to risk it.
Yeah, definitely not. Don't want to get their AD carry caught out and give over any unnecessary gold to Viperio. And Gould is going to be in this bottom lane with Regan looking for a flank potential here, but Aurelia will be forced to back away instead as they reinitiate a lane swap. 1 minute 30 until Mountain Drake is spawning. Viper towards this bottom side as well. Doesn't quite have the ultimate available.
Yeah, and no vision coming through there. Well, they see Tyron moving on into the river, and they know he's splitting away, but not sure where he's going. And we've just seen the Absolved bot lane have been in like 3 lanes within 3 waves. You see a lot of vision in and around that dragon, but the vision for Viperio isn't actually very useful because it's in their own jungle. You know? So it's like, okay, well, we know they're not doing our chickens. We know they're not going to steal from our side of the jungle. So they really want to look to move that vision line forward. But right now, the advantage is in the bot lane for Absolved. They've gotten a lot of extra plate gold. They've got the extra buys. You know, even the Berserker Greaves and Mobies coming through here as those boot pickups for Absolved. But yeah, they basically farmed three waves in 3 different lanes, and there's seemingly no response from Viperio. Viperio were just trailing behind, playing catch-up every time, not managing to get any plates or any sort of advantage elsewhere on the map.
And Vixen is just being poked out this entire lane so far. He went to get that 30 gold from the control ward, chunked to 1/3 of his life. Now, he is at half health because of his pots, but Thomas Go is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, he's really just ramping up. Now, he has gone for double stack. He's gone for Roa and Tier, and when you're playing for scaling, that's kind of okay. You'd think that, oh, well, our whole team scales, so maybe I should come online a little bit earlier, so I'll skip the Roa, because I want to spike hard on one item instead of having to wait for that second. But when the game's going as well as it is right now, or relatively speaking, for Absolved, because you see, they are down in gold, but I still feel like that this is very much an Absolved dub right now, as far as the game is looking. But having said that, we are seeing a big spike on Hades. He's gone ahead and picked up that Essence Reaver, whereas Gould obviously wanted those T2 boots for the rotations earlier. That was a lot of action for one ward.
Control wards.
Maybe this fight is looking pretty good for Viperio if they choose to take it around this Drake, because you also have the finished item advantage on Smurfwing as well with that Ravenous Hydra. We'll have to see if Tyron is going to be able to make a pick out here. He's looking for Viper. Thomas Go has the root.
Black gets the knock-up, will not be spell shielded. Look at the damage coming from Thomas Go. Cataclysm comes through as well. He escapes on a little bit of life, but will be cut down. Vixen has to flash away, but the Realm Warp was going to try and cut them off. Will just teleport in as the Glacial Fissure comes back out. Smurfwing doing so much damage, but Gould picks up the first kill to fight for himself, looking for even more. It's a trade of several kills. The double kill comes through for the Aurelia. Now the ace in favor of Absolved.
Oh, and that's just the perfect fight for Absolved. They've managed to get everything that they need. You get a huge ultimate down from Rojo Joe. Thomas Go, yeah, he goes down pretty early. Okay, I love this replay because just keep your eyes on Tyron. Step 1, clean engage here. Viper, you know they're nearby. You know that you're on a ward. You know the range of a Jarvan EQ. You cannot go for that because you cannot spell shield Jarvan EQ. You can block the damage, but you won't block the knockup. And then we see this sort of attempt of a defend here from the Aurelia, and it's going okay. But just watch Tyron with the world's fattest knockup, 4-man knockup. The whole time Gould is dishing out damage. We've got the Hemoplague down as well. That's finishing off some kills, really getting Rojo Joe back into this game. And now Hades is just being run down by that hastened Vladimir. Perfect fight for Absolved, and so early on into the game.
And that puts them 2,000 gold in the lead. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal for Thomas Go. He's stacking up that Rod of Ages as well, even though he's 1 and 3. He's going to start pumping out some serious damage now. 2 and 0 on Tyron and Rojojo.
I mean, Absolved have outscaled at 15 minutes at this point.
So is it over? Is it done? Go next?
I mean, I'm not toxic, and I believe that every game is winnable. But given the circumstances of how this game is played out, we've also seen that extra dragon picked up, so it will be an ocean map. I'm gonna level with you. I don't actually know what this graph shows. Is it vision? Ah, I see. It's a vision map. There's a lot of vision down the bot side of the Drake, up and around that dragon, but that thing's not spawning for another 3.5 minutes. So the focus is up and around the top side, where we do see that Viperio have the advantage up in this river. You got lovely pink control here. They're going to go ahead and clear it out, but this is a post 14-minute Rift Herald. It's not that useful. There's no plates anymore, lads. A great job getting the sort of advantage moving up first, but not a lot you can do with it at this point.
would help them crack open the top lane, in the very least. Give them a decent amount of true damage to that top lane tier 1. Just gotta clear away some of this vision. Tyrant is around that area.
Vixen!
So is Viper. They're gonna go in for the engage. And comes the teleport as well. Look at the damage on the Vixen, but they're onto the other side of the fight as well. As out comes the Paranoia. The Glacial Fish gets a knock-up. Teleport might be a little too late here, as Regan is just gonna be cut down. Smurfwing picks up that kill. That's double for the Aurelia. They're gonna take the second fight. Well, maybe they're not. The double kill comes through for the Rise, looking for even more. Look at all this damage, and the Aurelia is just trying her best, but can't do enough. 4 kills for 3.
So, like, we all saw that Vlad was TPing in, right? Step 1, Vixen kind of ints for W here. And, like, you just have to know that you're going to get rooted by the Rise. It's so dangerous to be walking up versus point-and-click CC like that. But Rapidlex is doing a decent job zoning out here. He's blocking, he's doing Braum things. And then a lovely ult here from the Aurelia, now zoning out Thomas Go. It hits a big knock-up, but just nobody is looking at the Vlad TP coming on it. This is, you're bunched up in a choke. You're versus Vladimir, a champion who, if we are unaware, is well known for his ability to dish out an exceedingly large amount of area of effect damage. And just off the back of that, just that one human plague, even if Vlad hadn't done any damage himself, it would have been enough for Thomas Go to go ahead and just start rolling over that fight. So it's a bit of a rough one for Viperio.
And what do you do as Viperio at this point? Because every team fight seems just to be going in favor of Absolved. That was such a late TP from Rojojo, but he still came in, did what was necessary, and helped Thomas Go carry that fight. He's now 4-3, 2-1 on the Vladimir. You said that they outscale. I mean, you have a 6-2 Aurelia, I guess, but can she carry hard enough?
I mean, as any top laner will tell you, Season 10, top lane, no impact, GG.
That's true.
It sort of is the answer, because we saw in that fight, even in the 1v2, she's got the first item, Ravenous Hydra, which is not as great for the 1v1. Obviously, you're not getting as much damage out as you would have with the Triforce, but oh, the wave clear, the sustain, lovely. And we see it coming out in that fight. So there is actually potential for Smurfling to really try and roll here, especially if you put Viper with him. We now see that Viper and Rapidex are coming down bot lane. Cool, you should have done this 10 minutes ago when there was still a huge advantage in that top lane. So a 3v3 is looking to break out here, and Smurfling is really strong, but you now need to use the lead that Smurfling has to find leads elsewhere on the map. Because right now, Absolved are scared of him. They're sending down 2 people to go ahead and match that. But where's the response coming through from Viperio? You know, they thought the Braum down as well, but actually the fight just starting.
Comes through, looking for it to make this a 3v3. In comes the Paranoia as well. The teleport now being channeled, but is it early enough? Regan picks up the first kill of the fight. It's onto the Nocturne, looking for a second here. Flex King Tyrant is the one to pick it up. Smurfwing looking to try and get away, but that's the flash. The flag and drag is good. The shutdown goal to Rojojo now. As they go for the tower dive, they will pick up this tier 1, and yet again, Absolved win a team fight.
Yeah, again, they're just able to roll it through. That was a fight that Viperio chose, and they just didn't need to. They've also blown a teleport coming down for that fight, because Viper doesn't have to force. You just have Viper there to be chill, and then when you see, you see the Jarvan somewhere else, you know where Rise is, yeah, you can maybe look to try and get like a 3v2 or something. But we're going to see it here. They have no idea where Jarvan is right now. They just think that it's a 3v2. So Smurfling goes in and causes the ult to come on through from the Rakan. That's pretty good, because that's an integral part of the disengage. But then this is a Nocturne just goes on in essentially completely alone, because you need Rapidex to go with him, and you need Rapidex to be blocking the Xayah feathers. That's why it's a strong matchup theoretically for the Braum, because you can block her ult, you can stop the feathers going on the way out or on the way back. You know, she has that sort of piercing damage as well. You can block a lot of things, and we don't see Rapidex really block any of it, and as such, when Gold does the sort of Blade Caller, brings them all back, it just wipes the fight.
Almost 5,000 gold in the lead now, so looking even worse than earlier on. 21 minutes into the game, 3 towers to nothing, none taken so far for Viperio. What do you have to start doing at this point as Viperio? Are you hoping to maybe just steal away the Elder Drake and get the execution damage?
I mean, can't you hear like, should they sack away the first 2 Drakes? And the answer is yes, because then they can get to Elder Steals faster. But
almost getting the Ocean Soul already for Absolved as well.
They need to assess what's going on. You need to assess the situation. You've got a strong Aurelia Unfortunately, you've lost so many fights that now she can't really roll anyone. But there's still chances that you put her up against a Vlad and you bring in Nocturne cheeky 2v1. The issue is they don't really have enough vision in the right places to know where the Jarvan is. Because yes, they've got this really nice line up the river, but it's not important. They can't defend that line, and it doesn't actually show anything until they're trying until they're actually trying the dragon. And you're not walking into the river anyway. Like, yes, you know what's going on in the river. Cool. You're not doing the Baron, so it doesn't actually matter. You're not invading, you're not walking past the midpoint of these lanes because you want to be able to run for your life. So the vision isn't actually too useful there. What you need is to just get if you can, just a little something on chickens somewhere. Just a little way to know where Tyrion is or where the support is, and then maybe you can try and force 2v1s onto Vlad. But realistically, I think this should have happened a long time ago, and now we're at the point that Viper's so behind, he can't engage. And he's still building damage. He's building a cleaver. It's like, no, Viper, you are behind. Get a Sterax. Get a Guardian Angel. At this point, start building like Randuin's and you know, the Adaptive Helm. You need to be tanky, because if you're going to be jumping in first, like that last fight, you need to be able to live long enough for Rapidex to get to you. And Rapidex he's not getting anywhere right now.
He's really not. That's the second time that control ward in the corner of that river brush has caught someone out. It didn't result in a kill the last time, but it definitely did this time. Now 0-4, not looking good for Rapidex, but then again, 7 kills to 14. You're not really feeling very good if you're a Viperio player or a fan. And it just feels like they're being choked out of the game repeatedly. Now, you have Smurfwing, he has his 2 iron power spike, he has his Trinity Force as well, but it's going to be a hard carry for him.
I mean, yeah, he's 6-3. He's got 2 items, but they're expensive items. Viper just... Mate, you're never getting that chick. Okay, cool. You got the crab. You've now got no flash. So you can't try and defend the Baron next time. Crab doesn't matter at this point. It's the same as a ward. You know, the 100 gold is nice, but the XP, obviously, jungle XP is nice, but it's not happening. Like, we'll have to see if that flash is going to be very vital. Honestly, I feel like at this point, if Viper is ever in a situation where he needs to flash, he's probably just dead anyway.
Yeah.
With or without it, so maybe it's fine to trade your flash for a crab in that situation, but it's a real rough one for Viperio. Like I said, they've got a very expensive build on Smurfwing, so even though he's got all of this gold, it's not really reflected very well, and because of how these team fights have been going, Rojojo is still doing decent in that regard. You know, he's got his 2 items, and they're a lot cheaper, so he's still hitting his spikes at the same rate that Smurfwing is. And now he's started building towards that death cap. Maybe it's a spellbinder, could go either way, but he's still building and he's still scaling and will eclipse that Aurelia.
Definitely will, and he'll do a lot more in these team fights as well than the Aurelia can do. Tides of Blood, Hemo Plague, he'll just keep transfusing and healing up throughout a team fight, so he'll be almost impossible to kill, buy himself some time.
Oh.
The Zhonya's as well.
Hey!
Minions will take that top lane tier 1.
Alright, so half the towers taken by Viperio this game, and it is the minions that go ahead and pull this one out. So, what's important here, Dragon in 30 seconds. Obviously the minions did it because Viperio set it up, but, you know. Dragon in 30 seconds. Is there any way Viperio can defend this? No! Do they have to at least try because it's almost impossible to win a game when there's a soul? Yes! Is realistically possibly their only chance of winning this game inting this Drake so that they can maybe try and steal the Elder? Kind of. So there's a lot of options on the Viperio table here, and it's just...
I mean, you make it sound like there are options, but you also make it sound like there pretty much aren't any options. Yeah. You have to try and get some vision established around this Drake as well for to try and int for it, and Viper can just...
Quick flash in.
He could have ulted in for it, but...
No, he didn't have enough vision on people at the back. It was actually really well done by Absolved. They're going ahead and pulled Drake out the pit so that you can't try and get that ult on in. No one's actually able to see him, I don't think, at least. And yeah, not going to be able to steal that one away with the Dusk, but tower taken up in that top lane. So finally, 26 minutes into the game, Viperio have traded an objective. Alright, so able to get a little something, and now... Having that Drake, having that tower taken top, yeah, it's a nice bit of gold. Yeah, it sets up in and around the Baron. But again, you're so far behind that you can't really do anything about that Baron. So, yeah, it's more gold on. Really, at this point, we're just sort of playing for Smurfwing's KDA. We're playing so that Smurfwing can look at this game and then he'll put up the like OP and GG score. It's like, but guys, I got ace. Like, what more can I do? You know, I was.
But at least he has Executioner's Call. Like,
That's pretty useful for those fights, of course. And actually, no one picking up any Grievous wounds there for Absolved, which is kind of important because there is a lot of healing on Smurfing with that Ravenous Hydra Rush, but it's also, you know, they're just going to win the fight anyway, so it goes either way.
And there's another thing I think that we should take note of is that with that Ocean Soul, that will reduce the... Sorry, I think I'm thinking of Cloud Drake, so my point completely irrelevant.
Alright.
I was going to say it reduces the amount of ultimate cooldown, but that's Cloud Drake. So.
Well, they got one Cloud Drake.
They got one Cloud Drake, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. 4%?
Yeah.
4%?
It's a little 10%. That's when you got a rise. That's quite a lot. It's got like a 3-minute cooldown on his ult, but I have valid, yeah. So we're out of the game. No, sorry, out of the pause. We're soon to be out of the game. Let's be real, as we come on here. And again, there's nice vision up and around the Drake for Viperio, but it's just not useful, man. Like, it's just not that relevant. They can't defend it at all.
What more can they do at this point? They're playing scared to push past that line of vision, which they should do. They've lost every team fight for the last 15 minutes or so.
The thing is, like, you set a line of vision, and you use that line of vision to then push in and set a slightly deeper one, you know, when you know where they are. And they just never have the ability to do that, so that line is kind of useless. So really, at this point, they are kind of just funneling gold into Absolved, because they've got like 5 wards doing the job of 2. Now the Baron is started up. Viper has turned on the ult.
Health. Paranoia goes in a little too early there, I think, but the Baron will be taken by the side of Absolved. Looking for the team fight as well. Regan gonna do a lot of damage, as even the support can do it. Rojojo gonna be the target as the Realm Warp will get them to safety. Only Vixen now on the wrong side of the map here, gonna try and recall Smurfwing, also on the wrong side.
And that Baron went to 97 health. They both missed Smite. I think someone must have smited their champion somewhere in that exchange, but ooh! T-Tours in the chat. We've got some purple highlights on the map. Show out who's got the Baron. Lovely. But, yep, that was the chance. That was Viperio's ticket. They get one more go in 3 minutes and 41 seconds when that dragon spawns.
That's if they can stop this Baron push.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's actually see how these smites went down. We get Smite comes through. Okay, so the charm's hitting off. Okay, that's the smite from Jarvan. When does the
auto attack from the Jarvan? Or
so when did Viper smite? Did Viper just not have smite? I think he just didn't have smite. I'm looking at the cooldowns, and yeah, he just didn't have it. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know. Can't fault a man for trying.
So was it the Cinder Hulk or was it the auto attack that took it for Tyron?
It was I don't see a Cinderhawk doing 97 damage. I call it a fat auto on that one. See, Tyron is building tank, but he just got a cleaver because why not? You know, because he can. And you have a little bit of extra magic damage on the team. Gould is, despite being 1-1 and 11, he's doing a lot more damage than it looks like. He's in these fights, people are getting very low because Gould is putting out constant AoE, and then Go is finishing him off, or you know, being finished off by Rojojo with his Hemoplague and whatnot. That's how every single fight has sort of gone through. So to be able to have that cleaver to basically just support Gould and increase his damage is going to be pretty nice. It's not something that you'd ever recommend on a tank Jarvan that was behind. But this time, Tyrion is really ahead, so he's having a good time. And then you look over at Viper, who cannot afford a cleaver, but has still purchased one. And that's like 3,200 gold. That could be a Sterak.
It's for the cooldown, Harry. Yeah. It's for the cooldown.
Oh, the CDR! Yes! Let's give CDR Randuins. You know? There's other right. Not Randuins, what am I thinking? Yeah, Frozen Heart, that's the one.
Frozen Heart.
Frozen Heart gives it, you know, Warmogs. Anything that builds out a Kindle Gem, you're good. Like,
yeah, but they're gonna try and 1v1 this 2v1 this Vladimir. Flashes forward, has a Dustbringer as well for added damage, but they're just gonna lose their base as they're going for this kill. Don't even get it. He flashes over the wall. Vexen gets away. I think 10 health. It must be.
Absolute slither of health. Rojojo, ooh, no. Yeah, Rojojo going to recall, but he does actually have TP to just come back to the fight. I feel like when you've got the double Ocean and Ocean Soul, you can sort of stick around and try and fight these ones out. You don't have to go ahead and recall. We actually saw the Redemption being dropped just tactically as like a casual, just, yep, let's get some more health going in as well. So it looks like Absolved want to stay, and what they're going to do is, okay, send Rojojo up into top lane. He can get a push going on out there. Although the wave is pushing itself already, but he's just going to go and give it a little bit of a helping hand, and then if he's needed, he will come teleport into the fight.
Something tells me that they might need him for this fight. Vixen goes forward with the double distortion. Gonna try and get a little bit of poke damage down, but the Guardian will protect them. They can just siege almost forever because of the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, it's pretty useful to have one of those. Who'd have known? You know? Who'd have thought?
Souls aren't broken or anything, no.
No. Well, in 40 seconds... Got the Elder coming up. Come on, Viper.
Elder, okay.
Let's be honest. If not done a lot all game. This is the opportunity, you know. This is when you come back. So, no vision in any of the southern quadrant we see. It's just all red side vision. It's all absolved. So that's not great. You got no vision in the pit. You don't have flash, but you do have an ultimate, and he does have a far side trinket. So there's opportunity here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Honestly, they're so far behind. I could see for the first time in my life a team losing with Elder Drake. But there's a chance, maybe even then.
Well, they're gonna go for this last dish effort anyway, as the teleport's channel from Smurfwing. But they know that they're gonna try and contest this.
Oh, Vixen,
so
no.
Waiting around. Vixen looking for an opportunity.
Oh, no. This is so dangerous. Honestly, like...
If they take too long, they're just gonna lose their base to the super minions.
Yeah, and I think Absolved are very aware of that. Like, yeah, we'll just chill. Rojo Joe is able to zone people on out. Vixen, you ain't slick. It was a good effort, but they very much will see you there. And he actually wasn't able to finish off the wood. Oh my! Oh, he did.
There we go. He goes back in.
Okay, so he's in the pit, but they actually 100% know he's in there. But right now, all he's doing is giving vision on Tyron so that Viper can look to steal. Vixen is very much a sacrificial lamb here.
Super minions are onto the Nexus towers as well. 6k on this Drake.
Oh, it's reset.
They're gonna go in here. Can they take the fight though? Vanguard Edge comes through as well, but the Cataclysm is good. Thomas Go doing so much damage, but look at the Hemoplague from the Vladimir. They're just healing up for days. The double kill now for Gould. Just gonna look for Vixen here. Flashes forward. Distortion's away.
But the teleport from Rojo Joe. Oh, look for Duke. Standing perfectly still. What a move. And now teleports are coming on through, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the game. It was a valiant effort coming through at the end there from Viperio. You know, that was the fight they needed 20 minutes ago. Yeah, they did have the setup they wanted. You know, you get the big ultimate from the Aurelia. Braum blocking a lot. Hades gunning people down. You know, maybe not when you're 10k down. Okay, but
maybe not.
The Elder Drake not needed in the end. Game ended without it. Absolved. Go ahead and pick up the first win of the UKEL 2020.
And in some ways, even though I did predict that Viperio would win the game, I'm not surprised, given how Absolved performed in that game. Tyron was on point as well. It wasn't inting Tyron. It was pretty decent Tyron. So, and also with the draft as well. The draft was heavily in favor of Absolved as we go towards the mid to late game.
Ah, so Coach Diff, go next. So, yeah, the draft was good for Absolved, obviously. They had, step one, like, you can never underestimate just how easy to execute a comp is. Mm-hmm. Like, that's always something you should consider. Sometimes people maybe are too proud, but you just go like, yep, we ult them and they die. That's fine, you know, that's not hard. And then Viperio just really fell apart because they had theoretically a strong bot lane matchup, although I don't agree with the blind Lucian first bit, but yeah, you got yourself a decent matchup going, and then you're just under tower the whole game. And yes, there are moments where they have the extra advantage because they were under tower, but they weren't really losing plates and they weren't losing creeps. So in that regard, the lane was even, but it's just giving so much advantage to Tyron, who's able to constantly go for those ganks into the mid lane through the bottom half of the map, and then of course the dragon. So there should have been an advantage for Viperio there, and they didn't get it. And then you look at the rest of the map.
We're just waiting for Nocturne to come online.
Yeah.
And just never did.
Yeah, like they're waiting for Nocturne, but they'll get outscaled as a team. And you're against a Jarvan, who's an early game ganker. And you've picked lanes that you want to win, you want to roll early, and then you've got Nocturne, who's waiting for 6, and he's clearing his jungle like 5 times over, trying to hit that point, whilst Tyron is getting out ganks. And because Season 10 XD, Tyron's getting out the ganks, so he's not actually falling behind in experience, because he's getting CS, he's getting the catch-up XP off the back of the kill as well. So just a lot not really done right by Viperio, but of course, pretty solid execution there from Absolved. Oh my word! You know what? Okay, so damage was done at some point.
Yes, I think that's clear, even from
It was a good effort.
even from that chart. I hesitate to call it a chart.
Yeah, that seems about right. I saw a lot of damage, and that seems like what Absolved did. So nice. That checks out.
It does check out. So, unfortunately for Viperio, they do take the first loss of the spring 2020 season, and that means Absolved are 1 up, and this looks much better than it did.
Okay, so as we can see, Nocturne doing about the same damage as the Braum. That checks out. All right. This is not the pick ban order that I saw, on account of the fact that there was a lot of placeholders going through. You know, I saw a lot more Amumus in the pick ban, but this is also why we don't like placeholders. It messes with the system. All right, don't do it like that, guys. But yeah, it's just it's a rough one. The dragons, the barons.
I just feel sorry for Aurelia. Aurelia did more damage than most of the players on the side of Absolved.
Top diff GG. Yeah, it's so Smurfing had that really strong showing in the early game, but he rolled the lane and then he managed to pick up all those kills. And the issue with Viperio was as a team, so I don't want to be like, team diff for Smurfwing, because he is one of those 5 people. You can cool your jungle down, you can try and work together. But yeah, absolutely, the second that Smurfwing is, like, he's got his lane on half health and he's missed 3 waves, and like, okay, let's do something with this, you know? That's when you want to say, okay, we've got the decent bot lane, mid lane's getting clapped, and as Viper, you have to say, sucks to suck, bro. And you go off and you just try and get that snowball going top. Because, of course, if you have one snowballing lane that can just keep running people down, that's drawing the jungler away. And that's drawing people away from things like the dragon and the herald or whatever it is you choose to put Smurfwing. And it looks like Viperio didn't really want to do anything with that lead. They just said, okay, Smurfwing's ahead, cool. But, you know, mid lane's losing, so I've got to be over there. And that seems like a pretty glaring issue.
That would have drawn Tyron to the top side as well, when he was just repetitively ganking the mid lane.
Anything you can do just to get him away. Just get Tyrant off the map. He's playing Jarvan. He's getting the early ganks in. Honestly, jungle diff. Like, there's no 2 ways about it. There really isn't. So that's probably what Viperio needs to change. Like, as a team, you've got to work together a little bit more. You see, there was that phase where just rotations across the map from Gould and Regan, who are, you know, they not even worried about plate spot. And that's the thing, right? They get the Drake. Okay, we rotate and we go for Herald. Okay, and then we're going to come drop it mid. Okay, and then we're going to go back to bot to defend that. And they had only really got plates off of the mid lane there. We actually saw that even after that, there was only a 500 gold lead for Absolved. So they had all this stuff going, but they were okay to not push it to its fullest. They're like, okay, we're going to go top, we're going to go mid, we're going to go bot. And they didn't actually get any plates there, but they're like, okay, we're just moving around the map. We're getting something done, even if it's only a little. And the issue is that Viperio kind of like really started sweating when that happened. And you think, okay, obviously you have to defend the mid one, but like when they're top, you've messed the rotation. Like, you haven't done it. Okay, so just stay bot. Give up the Herald. You can send like a 3-man down bot, maybe 4-man, bring in the mid laner, and then, oh, what, they're going to go drop Herald top? Okay, TP back up. You're 2v3. You can probably try and defend that bit, you know. You got Nocturne. He's fast enough on the map to try and defend mid lane at some point. You know, you have options that it might not be like perfect, but it's better than just following them around.
Yeah, there are those options there, but you know, they just weren't taken. Maybe it's a bit harder on the fly when you're, you know, in a match and you're trying to communicate and try and get the team on the same page. So that will be Viperio versus Absolved. We're going to go to a quick break before we go back and show you guys, we'll bring you guys Bulldog versus Vector Gaming. Don't go anywhere.